Sound, Flint.
Uh, One of the things to consider when we speak about going to space is what do we define the space as? And what do we see or what we consider as a space? We take a space in our physical body on this planet, and at the same time, within the structure of our physical body, there is another dimension of life which we call the soul of the man. And even though it lives within the space dimensions of the body of the man, has its own life and has its own line of communication. And what we define space, going to space, we already know the inner sanctum or the creator of our physicality travels the depth of the universe, has been the space travel all the time, has a line of communication with other parts of us, be it through dream we call it, or through subconscious, some people they call it, or we have the choice that physically move the physicality with its soul. In a way, we have a bird caged in the physicality of the body of man, and that bird is called the soul of the man. We can open that cage and let it loose at the point of death. When the operation of this cage rots away, and it cannot hold together, and this beautiful bird becomes free. Still, it takes life in the universal dimension, because it has a life. It exists on its own. Or we can carry the cage in a box and take it anywhere. I can take a bird cage in the car, I can take a bird cage in my hand and walk around the park. It doesn't change the entity and existence of that bird. It's still a bird, still sings, still communicates with other birds in the park. And this is how our soul is. So we give option. Those who understand the process of the creation can take that cage, that bird, out of the cage and free it, because we trusted it come back in. It's very much when you have a parrot at home, you open the door, you let him fly around the house, and he comes back again and he goes in the cage. Because you trust it. It knows that's where it belongs to. And this is the process that we have made an option to man. The soul of the man is that bird, but is encaged in physicality of body of man. And for the first time, man knows, man can see that it's him who hasn't trusted the bird to be freed. And it has come the time that he does not need to see the cage to break up, to rust, that the bird can fly out, or by accident open the cage's door is open and the bird flies out. That accident is when we die on the street. The bird cage opens up. That bird still gets freed. But now we are teaching how the man has control over this door of the cage. And he trusts that the soul will come back to the body. Or the bird will stay, that it can create that atmosphere of the home, the cage. This is the problem we have, and this is what we call it different ways of traveling. But to be able to free that bird without accident, or when the cage cracks, rust, and we call it death, we are teaching how to be able to control, to trust that that bird, when we release it, can come home, or can make a home that we can go to. When my children were young, 4 or 5 years old, they wanted a bird, a cockatoo. I bought them a cockatoo. And this bird in the cage was very young, few weeks old when we got him. And we used to let it free in the house. He knew he goes back in and he sleeps there and he lays egg there. And it came to the point, because of the diseases carried, we had to, the doctors told us, this bird cannot stay in the house because it's causing problem in the house, health problems. So we decided that we loved the bird. We didn't want to let it go, it was part of us. So we decided if we let it free, it will die, because he didn't know how to look after himself, because he was hand-fed. We decided we'd take him to a sanctuary, and we give it to a sanctuary to be kept. We carried the cage across a park, and as we were walking to go to the sanctuary in the park to be given to them, an old lady saw us. She says, "Oh, what a beautiful bird." We said, "We have a problem, we love him, but if you leave him here, we don't know if you see him." She says, "I'll look after it, give it to me. You can come and see it anytime you like." And it was just like a gift. So we got the old lady in the car, we went to her house, we put the cage there, we showed them how to look after the bird, and the bird was free again in the room. And every now and then, children said, "Papa, can we go and see him?" So we called the lady, we go and see him, and the bird is there. And it was a new home, it was our home. And this is how the soul of the man should be. Is trusting that where he goes, he can make a home for us. So in this process, we are teaching different ways of freeing the bird, or carrying the cage. The bird is still there. If you want to carry a cage and go somewhere, you get in the car. That's your spaceship. Still the cage is there and the bird inside. The cage is the body of the man and the bird is the soul of the man. Because we haven't trusted that we get the bird back. We carry the cage in the spaceship. Or there is another line of teaching, which is the understanding the structure of the cage, that you can make the cage not to rot, that then it frees the bird, but it can open up and you can carry the bird is free, you don't need to fuel it, you don't need to do anything, it travels the space of the room, the space of the garden, the space of the city, and it comes back home again. In a way, when we teach about the soul of the man, is in getting the man to trust himself. And to trust himself, he has to become detached. Has to come detached from physicality, detached from the wealth, detached from everything else. That the wealth is within me, not belonging to me. And this is where every man makes a mistake. In many of the teachings I have referred, if you understand that you can put the soul of the man to act with the soul of physicality of the man, you can make anything you like. The soul of the man is the sun, and the soul of physicality in the palm of the hand of the man is the earth. You move it in the direction, you create water, you create food, but you don't need to have it. It creates the energy that the physicality of the man can absorb. We give the earth in the hand, in the palm of the man. He creates what he needs, he takes what he needs from it. Then, if you understand this, you allow the soul of the man to carry the soul of the physicality of the man with it, and whenever it comes, it makes that hand, that palm, 1,000 meter, 1 meter, in a cage of physicality or in a cage of non-dimension. So, it's not methods of flight, it's the method of man understanding his own potential, his own grace. So, because we have so many people who are so physically attached, we teach about the spaceship for years. This is what it was. They still wanted to see they can get into something. But, as I said, I teach for the universe, not for the man. What we teach in the dimension of soul of the man. Many travelers of the universe which hear the soul of me are educated, they understand what they missed. But as this is the last time we bring a messenger on earth, we teach everything for mankind to carry. All the rules are in the book. There shall be no more messages. It's for man to translate knowledge. Scientifically, and then through the understanding of the soul of the man. What we call theology, ethics. Ethics of using the science in a way that does not harm no one, but it implies and applies the survival of the others. I was talking about this a few days ago, that there is a paper written by me, the station of the scientist as a prophet. The prophets we call Muhammad, Christ or anybody, are for the soul of the man, conduct of the behavior. Scientists like beautiful Tesla and others are to elevate the same, but the physicality of the man. This time we have put the two together in one go, then there is no difference. We teach the ethics, the soul conduct and physicality. It's for the man to understand where the two merge and when it's needed to be done. the totality which counts, not the individuality. What you can serve counts, not what serves you. So, in this way, if you are physical, we have given you the spaceship, all these reactors. If you have moved in the dimension of understanding part of it, you have the dynamic system, you get some energies, you put a glass of water, you mix the energy and something else together, you're still the camel bird. You put the orange, take the energy, but you still want that the physicality that you're doing something with it, you drink the water. And for the soul of those who understand the totality, then they don't need the cage. They're the free bird. And this is the essence of all the teaching. It's not different ways of flight, is understanding the existence of the universe. Then, if you travel with a spaceship, who do you see? The citizens of the universe in a physical dimension. If you travel with the soul, that you can create the physicality, you take that out of the equation. You travel, but you know you have connection with everybody. It's very much, as I said once, it's like you get out of London and you go to New York. You're there on your own, but you still pick your phone and speak to the family in London. It's not finished. Now, the soul of the man, given the man the same opportunity. We teach for the time to come, and we teach from now till that time to come. And that time comes, is not anymore the end of the world, something will happen. Is the maturity of the one's understanding of his own creation.
Welcome everyone to the 277th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. This is a broadcast from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, part of the Public Teachings in English. I'll be your host today, Rick Cramond, and as always, we're joined with Mr. Mayran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will deliver today's teaching. I can hear him in the background, ready to go. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good day to you, as usual. wherever, whenever you listen to these public teachings. Uh, it's a very interesting time which are coming up. One in the direction of the understanding of the soul, one in the direction of understanding of the space technology, and in so many ways, uh, we will have some times with Jalal. He has recorded some part of his understanding and his teaching for us about how we handle the energies, the soul, and the rest of it. This is important as we had people in the past, they came us and they showed us the reactors, the gas making and whatever. Now we are going into the other direction that we understand through those who understood the totality or part of the totality in effect of the energies of the universe. They teach us their understanding, and some of us will learn from it, some of us will done it, and some of us come back with what we built and we will learn from it to teach more. It is very interesting in many things which is happening around the world, and we'll come back to it. And in so many ways, Keshe Foundation work is a work of peace. We work to create a condition for peace by sharing equal the knowledge, the science, the technology, the benefits of it. And in so many ways, we see a lot of fairly early stages of the developments. As I said, we haven't even started crawling to get on the first steps with what we have taught in the past 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. We're going to the next step and we see step by step where we go. The things which is of our concern, and this is as many of you know, the situation in Persian Gulf between Iran and United States is of a huge concern. And we hope that the leaders will find a solution, that we do not enter war. We hope both the Americans and the Iranian leadership find a way to understand each other's problem. But there are a lot of things that internationally are known, and it's the job of scientists like me, people who are the initiators of this technology, people who carry this technology, brought this technology forward to stages of advancement in part, and with other scientists, we are developing it to a point that we all get benefit by it. We have to understand how we come to this point between these two nations. How we can change things, how is possible, what's the reason behind it. I urge the leaders to talk, to find a solution. I pray for their souls that they find a solution. Because killing one nation's sons and daughters is not a solution. I'm not so much worried about the Iranian nation. I'm more worried about the United States nation. There is a lot of things that the public do not understand, and I make a point of it today for you to understand. The American government has not openly declared why they are after Iran in such a way. As I've seen in one poster, they have posted all the soldiers all the way around Iran except in Russia, and they say Iran is looking for war. Why? Why is such intention? Why is there that other nations are not supporting it? And America single-handedly, doggedly is chasing this. Now, we see with Saudis. Now, we have to understand why. What's the reason behind this? Many of you do not know. And I would like to open a new chapter in the chapter of peace. If you'll be shocked, it's not my problem, you should have been aware of it. If you go on the internet and check on all the nations, United States, China, Japan, Australia, England, France, all advanced nations have a military force to defend their territory, and not only defend their territory, defend their citizens across the world. They're taken hostage, we go out to save everything we've done together as humanity. But there is a very big mystery that today I'll open up, and maybe the American leadership And a government who's listening might understand and get heat on it. In past 2 or 3 weeks, I extensively covered this, warned of the disaster, and many of you misread my warning. What I want you to do, if you are and you understand the process of the whole structure, is that if you look, as I said, just go on the internet and check all the military forces, nations who have military. Small or big, we always keep soldiers. We think these soldiers are there, armed forces are there to protect us. But there is a mystery in this so-called aggression of war on Iran. And I explain to you what the mystery is. If you go on the internet and press something very interesting, put Aerospace Force. We are not talking about Air Force. We are talking aerospace as a part of military. You find out, you'll see the two nations have aerospace force. And these are the nations who have managed to break into the space technology in a huge way. That's why have made a space as part of defense technology for their citizens. Not for aggression, but for peace. The first one you will see is Russia. Some 460,000 armed forces. The next one you see, and that is after Russia is the second in line, is the nation of Iran. Why the American government directly targeted a certain part of the Iranian forces is because this force is specialized in space development. These are the people who capture the drones. These are the people who have a lot of knowledge scientifically. Iran is so advanced in the space technology that it has brought the space protection of its nationals as part of its force. Iran is the first nation which carries an aerospace force. It means we respect the space of the above our whatever we call as part of the protection, not only for Iran, but for all the nations on this planet. When you have something to protect, you protect all your neighbors, not yourself. You protect your family, not just yourself. When it's a time of trouble, you are generous, you give to protect that they can survive. And this is the exact dilemma which at the moment America never explained to no one what's the reason behind this doggedly attack on Iran. Let me explain to you something very directly. Iranian aerospace force is untouchable. I took the space into Iran, the knowledge of a spaceship, and it's been used for peaceful application. When I speak for the first time for you to understand why America was so eager, they want to get access to this technology in Iran. Iran does not need nuclear. We produce because part of the nuclear is needed for the deep space travel. We do not need to create weapons. Iran is a peaceful nation. It has to be understood, and clearly by capture of many drones of American forces in the past years, Iran has shown its superiority. All these, up to now, you did not know why, is because American government in conjunction with the Israelis want to get access to the Iranian space technology, which is over 100 to 200 years ahead of NASA technology. Check. Go on Iran military forces, you will see under the Army of Iran, Air Space Force. And in the move, since last few days, the head of Iranian space has been made the head of Iranian army, because he knows how to access into this capture. Please withdraw these things from the screen. We do not need to show. Russians, I do not mind. We're not here to make propaganda. We're just explaining the situation, what's happening in Iran. The head of the Iranian new army, please remove this, is, you can put the Russians. Russians have the same. Russian made their aerospace defense after Iran. After the 2014. Iran showed the technology in 2011 on the, can you close your microphone please? And this, can you close the microphone please? And this is what is all about. The push on the Chinese economical conditions, Russians, this was all decoy to get to the Persian Gulf, keep all these busy that they can get into capture the Iranian space technology. But there is one proviso. The citizens of the United States, the citizens of Israel, citizens of Saudi Arabia, work and accept the ethos of Christ, blesses his name. And it says, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Sons of Iran touched, daughters of Iran touched. It's the same as any other sons and daughters. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. We do not need to touch the tooth, we do not need to touch the eye. Now that we understand why American forces are so eager and no European governments and no other support, is because the Europeans and the rest understand Iran advancements in the space technology. The knowledge of Iran belongs to humanity, the way I have shared. In my last talk, a few weeks ago, I explained the disaster pending for the United States. The loss of millions would not be by the earthquake. By the time the capability of the forces of Iranian, what I call defense, by use of the space program will show, B-52 is a child game, is a mouse in the hand of a cat. Most probably all the satellites will be dismantled in no time. Plasma technology, Tehran, Washington, in no time. You try to drop a bomb on Tehran. In my many of teachings I said, when a friend gives a gift, you don't need to return. But this time we have a more advanced way to return. And we know the knowledge of the plasma technology. Washington will be unbelievable. New York, the same. Los Angeles. Every city to one city. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But I can give you a guarantee. If Iran is not sold internally by certain people, the same story has happened in Japan in the Second World War will cover the United States through the understanding of the new technology. Be warned by the actions of the United States. We do not want war. We are claiming peace and we stick to peace. But Iran, aerospace, is the first nation in aerospace and it's the crown in the jewel of the world scientists, not only Iran. We can protect the territorial land of Iran, but when you are attacked. We saw what happened. The Japanese attacked Port Harbor. We saw the Americans ended up in Hiroshima. This time, the story is the power is in the hand of Iranian Space Force. We should not use this technology out of the fear, but we should enjoy the pleasures of its existence. I call upon American forces to withdraw from Persian Gulf. We are friends and we are the same. I call on Saudi leadership. You purchased the most advanced air defense technology from Israel, who's killing the Palestinians the last few months for billions of dollars. You signed a $200 million military contract with America to buy the harbor. I have a very bad news for you. They knew that they cannot use these technologies they sold to you. They sold the scrap heap because Iran technology will make a scrap of 300-400 billion investments in what they cannot sell anymore. The reason the American president is supporting the 200 billion sale so doggedly is because they would not be able to sell anymore after if they test Iran. The same with the Israelis who sold you such an advanced defense technology. The reason is that in the war between Syria and Iran, Iran showed the Israeli militaries the power of the space technology. They know they don't stand a chance. As I said, there will be no more war in mankind and the human race. And this is my last warning to the United States of America. Choose the path of peace. Otherwise, when you hit somebody in the face, you do not expect a kiss. You got to understand, the minute the power of United States is wiped out, the anarchy will be beyond belief, because many nations stay under control because of the American forces' ruthlessness to kill on the basis of the British blood. Every American will be drug addict as much as the South Americans can get in. There is no international forces to confine unless the state of China and Russia and Iran take a new control of the policing, which is most probably possible. The losses, we have accepted the sole losses. Now you understand why so much in past weeks I have been pushing for this. The United States government did not declare to its citizens that is after a technology which has literally humiliated the Israeli army forces. And the Israelis are using the sons and daughters of America to get access to something to kill more Arabs and the rest. And where it goes, the Rothschilds and the Illuminatis. We make sure if Iran touched, the sons of Iran and the daughters of Iran belong to the planet Earth as all of our sons and daughters. And as the American administration is a Christian organization, it will be responded to by the laws of Christ. I and I, tooth and suit. Son of the leaders were sons of the leaders. Daughters of the leaders were daughters of the leaders. Sons of the nation were sons and daughters of the nation. Withdraw your forces from Persian Gulf and start a peace plan for this planet. Do not push, because what happened, what we did to Mayas, we can do further up north. If you can find any Mayas or Incas, you'll find Americans. This is not threat of killing. This is the threat of peace. This is the enforcement of peace. This is how correct in conduct we are. Now you understand why the Iranian space technology belongs to humanity the way I have shared. I am ruthless when it comes to peace. I feel sorry for those American mothers and fathers who will not see their sons, as their ships has nothing to sail on the high seas to go back home. We will not touch them. Electronically we can paralyze them. Through the plasma we convert the energy to electrical energy. And then I wonder how many communication lines will go. It's time to talk peace, and it's my job to make sure it happens. If those who decide to do B-52s the way we landed, the most advanced drones, will drop their bombs on Saudi Arabia by mistake of the American pilots, not by the Iranians. We can control everything. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If it's good for the male duck, it's good for a female duck, as we say in English. Because they need both to eat, that they can produce the next generation. My advice to the Israeli government and to the American government and to Saudis is to stop all this. Now we know, you open your hands. You kept the Chinese busy so long, you kept the oil so busy so long, you kept the Russians so long busy that you could do these things, but we were watching the game. You play the childish game. And I feel sorry for Saudis who have bought all this crap here. You were better off to buy the tanks from the First World War. At least you had a museum piece. Do not test the strength of the peaceful of a nation. Be afraid of a lying lion. And look at the flag of Iran. We carry 3 colors. Whichever you choose, the Iranian nation scientists can respond. But we do not need to touch Iraq, Saudi Arabia. You want to kill a snake, you cut its head off, not play with its tail in the Middle East. I think I have given enough openness for peace to talk. The whole plan was to attack the Iranian space centers, which you do not know where it is. I know where it is. And most of the scientific world in the space technology knows that Iran has access to a spaceship program for a long time. Plasma saturation of the grid of United States will paralyze America in no time. We don't need to kill anyone. They will kill each other. When you don't have no power to run your fridge, your freezers, your petrol stations, you can see the mayhem. They'll be so busy, as I said in my talk, that they have nothing to do outside. Now, let's talk from point of power, of peace, not lies of nations who have nothing and they've sold. Saudis have bought the beautiful, fantastic things which are not needed. You've been fooled. They sold you sand, and you Arabs should have been much more cleverer than that. When Israelis befriend, it means you are finished. They never sleep in the bed where there is joy and happiness. Moses did not do, his children will never follow. To be any different than him. As I said very recently, the youth of United States are not part of the dowries of a daughter of a president to State of Israel. You should understand exactly what it means. Do not touch Iran, do not touch America, do not touch the Israelis, do not touch the Palestinians, do not touch the Arabs. Maybe this situation created by America is a good point to start to talk of peace. Instead of all these aircraft carriers to come and do whatever they were supposed to do, bring them to port in Iran. We welcome you. We share knowledge, we share technology. Iranian ports are open to friends, and your friends, you consider yourself as enemies, your problem, not us. But you deceived the world in not telling the truth what you were after. And today I open your hand. I have clearly stated this to the government of China. They are fully aware of the position. I have clearly stated this to other nations who are involved. As we say, the hand of the thief is open. You got to understand, to be intelligent enough to understand that when Iran can capture the most advanced aircrafts, drones, highest speed, B-52 is a fly in the hand of an eagle. It's the power, the integrity of the Iranian nation and military which does not disclose, but respect them and honor them, that they have made so much advancement in space technology that mankind will go for it the same as my knowledge. I am committed to peace, but I am loyal and committed to my nation, the state of Iran. And I'm committed to one nation, one planet, one race. Play the game or withdraw from Persian Gulf. Last time we touched with the nuclear, the Japanese. This time we touch with the power of the sun through the plasma technology. Send this message to the White House. They are listening, and the Chinese government. Chinese government is a peaceful nation, peaceful government, the same as Russia, the same as Iran. We've been fooled, we've been abused by the Rothschilds and Illuminatis and the rest of them in Vatican. Now the hand is open. The revolution which was set to cause problem in East Asia already has been exposed. Now, keeping the world busy with increasing taxes, highway, and all that was a cloud game to keep people busy, that Iran can be touched. Everybody's scared to touch Americans because they might create sanctions. As we said, with the order of His Excellency President Xi yesterday, China will stand behind its leader that American sanctions will have nothing to do. And we support the Chinese government for the food and agriculture to make them self-sufficient, even if the American decide to go down. You have to understand, all these games was played to satisfy the dowry of the daughter with the life of the sons and daughters of United States. Unfortunately, there'll be no child from this marriage. When I was a little boy, being half born of a Jewish mother descendant, we used to go to north of Tehran sometimes on Saturdays after the Shabbat. The Jews used to get together. Those of you who are Iranian know it's called Polytagris, by the mountains. There is a road, all the Jews pretending to come walk by the mountain to be in the cool weather. There were barbecues and everything on the corner of streets, but the Jews were there to sell their daughters. We call it Bazar Malkhar, means the market for buying goods, and the goods are daughters and sons. And one goes what we call Jalal Muhabbat. It means the one who works for lovemaking, for selling, arranging marriages. Now we call it internet houses as we have. That's the old way to do it for centuries. The Jews have done it that way. And the woman goes, I watched it many times. When I understood what was going on, I said to my mom, it's my turn to stand here. Would I catch a lot of money? She said, Mehran, you're not a Jew. And the funny thing is, the woman comes to you and he says, how much do you want to pay for your daughter to marry? He's a very nice guy, he's a very good Jewish family. And then they say, we want this, we want that. But the wealth is not good. They have a pretty girl, very good looking, very good housekeeper, but the parents don't have much wealth. They negotiate. Okay, when the grandfather died, who has a house, the house goes to the family of the boy. So they even sell the grandfather's house before he dies as a dowry to the man, that the girl gets married. This is what the Jewish tradition is. So when you marry your daughter to a Jewish family, you have to give a lot of dowry. Iran is not part of that dowry. This is clear to the state of America. Iran is not part of American's president's daughter as a dowry to the state of Israel. We are all the same family. We are all in one shoe. Now you understand why nobody could understand all this pressure. Because the Israelis know Iranian space technology can paralyze them. The Americans know the same. That's why nobody in the Senate will support it. Iran has been straightforward with the administration of Obama. Iran has been straightforward with the Germans, with the British, and the rest. But we speak from point of strength. And it does not matter what happened to me or the Keshe Foundation website they decide to bring down. I have spoken my soul. And that's what it counts, not my voice. Now you understand why, whatever reason, we are going in. The reason is part of the dowry. Iran is not part of the dowry of a daughter. Iran is a nation with its own integrity. And half of those who dowry to be given to are Iranian. 30% of the Israeli state, the Jewish state, are Iranian Jews. And they love to go home, not as part of the dowry, but as what I call men of Iran with integrity. We brought the Jews during the past time to protect them. We do the same again. This is important, more important than teaching anything else, because I have to accept millions of souls according to what is accepted by universal community, in case bunch of crazy people do crazy things and bunch of people who are correct trying to defend. We say in Farsi, very good thing, say it takes one crazy man to drop a stone in a water well. It takes 40 intelligent men to get that stone out that everybody can have water. Iran is the nation of 40 intelligence. Read the Bible. It says 3 wise men of Iran. They are very wise. And today's teaching is more important than anything else to understand why nations are getting dragged in something, because they sold the tools they cannot sell anymore. Because once they get access, they thought they get access to the Iranian space program, then sorry Saudis, you paid 100, 200 million for a scrap heap. It's your problem. You should have known your next door neighbor Iran has all the technology. You are the Muslims, we are Christians and the Jews. The rule of the split, divide and rule, which is a British system, has worked well between the Muslims, Shia and Sunnis, even they all believe in Muhammad. Now the Israelis know we have opened their hand. I respect all nations, all citizens of this planet, but when we see misconduct, I'm very open-minded, I'm very open outspoken. Now you know why, whatever happened, they want to go to Iran. They want the Iranian space program. Nuclear is an excuse. Having rockets on the wings of the plane is an excuse. Please send this recording to the American senators in America. Let them listen to it. The way the last time when we went to create peace between Iran and the United States, American intelligence approached me and said, Mehran, there is a problem in the Senate. We cannot get the Senate passed through to accept the peace with Iran. I said, give me a few days, let me think of a way. I called Mike Harris, we all know as a broadcaster in the United States, and I said, Mike, I want to give the discussion on Thursday. And in the meeting, you can listen to the recording, I said in the program, Mike Harris, where senators were told to listen, there is a message from Iran. And I explained how can any senator in a Senate with such a recession refuse 10, 15 million jobs in America with a peace with Iran. On Monday morning, you check your internet. The head of opposition in the Senate resigned, we got the signature. I am extremely powerful and I know where to go and what to say, to whom to say. And we see the growth of suddenly America being a strength is out of that 10, 15 million jobs which came from Iran. Peace treaty. Not because of taxation. The administration hasn't been more than 2 years in office. It takes 5 years to get the economy moved this way. But my fear is the Americans will kill each other to eat food. People in New Orleans will have a better chance to live than people in New York because there is no electricity. Iran will not kill anyone. We just dismantle the structure of the communication, the structure of the power supply. This is the worst thing of the present economy world. We don't need to destroy. And now we understand the excuse of all these things to get to Iran. Whatever you do, no, it's not good enough. They kept the Chinese busy, they kept the Russians busy. Everybody was busy, but they didn't tell anybody that after the space program of Iran, Air Space Defense Force of Iran, Russian airspace. Russia built its aerospace after the testing on Americans, and now they have a space. No other nation has such a structure. Because you don't create an airspace force if you don't have a completed space technology. And we have shown it with drones. We can show it. American friends know we have shown them other places. Don't let me embarrass the Israelis. They don't have a tool even to detect. They just want an excuse just to get. Now we open the door. There is no excuse. You are after Iranian space technology. This is not the way. The way to do it, open the channel of communication. I'll come to United States. We sit with the American scientists, Chinese scientists, Russians, and the Iranians. And as Iranian scientists, we teach you. But on the one guarantee, every world leader has to sign the peace treaty. That man will never go into war. They find excuse for anything. Now we know. It's like when you have a mistress, when you go home, doesn't matter what beautiful food the wife makes for you, you have to make an excuse because you take more pleasure with mistress. American went to bed with the wrong mistress and they really pulled them. Now they can see their own misconducts. I said, and I repeat, you are a Christian nation, and by every nation goes according to its own law. Eye and eye, tooth for a tooth. Sons of Iran were sons of America, daughters of Iran were daughters of America, to live together, to marry each other, to have children of the next generation for love of God, not for killing each other. Mr. President Trump, I'm a wise man, but my wisdom tells me sometimes man has to be strong enough to admit he's made a mistake when his hand is opened up. Test me. 360 million is nothing for me. It's not even 5% of the population of this planet. Every year, 160 million die on this planet. Let's talk peace. Let's withdraw the forces, that it does not become embarrassment for the American nation. And Americans don't kill each other. No food, no electricity, nothing. The worst thing with America is it's become so tied up with machinery and systems that when you take it, they don't know what to do. An African lived off the jungle, has no problem, finds a banana and a wild pig. An American has to find a wild American to eat. It's so simple, and it's such an isolated country that doesn't touch no one. It doesn't interfere with Asia, it doesn't interfere with Africa, nothing happens in Europe. A rotten tooth is taken out by themselves, it falls out on its own. So my call goes to the United States of America and to the State of Israel and to our brothers in Saudi Arabia. Let's talk sense, let's talk peace. And I'm sorry if you bought a lot of dead dogs, Saudis. You should have been wise. Why Israelis become kind to Muslims? Unless they're not there to destroy them. When the Israelis offered you the defense technology, for what? As what I said in my meeting to the American diplomats, when they asked for the USB stick, very simple point. They asked me, can you tell us how you captured a drone? I said, it's very easy. We cross your country, you don't even know. That was 7 years ago. Now we're more advanced. A nation does not put space in front of its force if it doesn't have. And Iran is responsible for protection of this planet through the space technology. We are men of peace. You want to see our power? We put you to shame. You want to see our grace and friendship? We love you to death. Pull your, what you call, military aircraft carriers into the port of Ahvaz, the way we greeted Hillary Clinton in the airport when he crashed and he had a brain hemorrhage, and we gave the body literally back in Dubai to be taken to the United States on 4th of December. We do the same. We are of a nation of peace, and our door is the door of kindness and love and integrity as an Iranian nation. But we haven't been to war for 300 years, but it's not that we forgot how to fight. We always keep the best tools that they know. If they do, we can defend. We stay in peace out of our power, not out of our weakness. High level bombing, we captured your drones. This is a show. Setting up people in Armenia to train them, in Azerbaijan to train them, to send them back to Iran to create mayhem while you start attacking. We already know. We have protected and come to the region with the Turkish nation. Do you want me to expose more? Training some Farsi-speaking Turks in Azerbaijan in the ex-military base to send them to Iran. We already watched all of them. We know who they are. We know where they sit. And they will not sell, the Turks of Iran will not sell Iran to no one. They are loyal Iranians. It is very easy to follow the direction. We are not here to make UNOs. There is no UNOs. This time is a clear-cut peace talks. I prefer to stop a war than trying to carry 60, 70 million souls. They have to choose their time, not for my knowledge and technology to be there to show them how to path the path of God. Administration after administration in the United States, we see nothing but war. One or the other. So the whole nation of the United States is involved, doesn't matter under one color, in killing people of this planet, and it stops from today. Chinese now know why all these sanctions and all these tax rises. It was a gimmick to keep them busy while you're busy in Iran. We did the same with the Russians, but now we know the game. Arming people in the Islamic nations to create a problem in Islamic sections of different nations, we already know, and protection has been taken against it. Am I clear, State of Israel? Am I clear, Vatican? And am I clear, hopefully, to the Office of President of the United States? We watched all the games you were setting up to create revolutions and everything else around the countries, setting the Muslims against each other, using the Jews to pay for the Muslims. We watched it, we monitored it for past 3-4 years, and steps have been taken. Your hand is open. You should have never opened the airfield, unused airfield in Azerbaijan. Am I clear? Training, what you did, the trick in Libya, 2030, Italian looking, what they call it, Libyans, and you start a revolution. This time we watch, we are educated. We didn't watch the borders, we watched globally what you're up to. Am I more clear, President Netanyahu? Forget about assassination. You cannot assassinate a Kohen. It's your problem, not mine. I'm a blood of Kohen, and I'm loyal to the state of Iran. I'm Sayyid by blood, as much as I'm a Kohen by blood. I'm loyal to humanity and to the state of Iran and the Iranian nation. Test me, and I'll show you my power. Name of America is like Incas, just by name. You'll never find any citizens. It's just a few kilometers down the road. What we've done in the south because of misconduct, now you receive the same. When you kill each other, it's your problem. As I said many times, I gave you a hint. When somebody kills himself, it's a suicide. When somebody else kills, it's a murder. When you kill each other, you wipe your own nation out. And you have created enough guns that it's so easy for you to kill each other with your rights to carry a gun. It's your right to finish your nations too. Am I clear? Now we understand. Please send this to every member of the Senate in the United States. Send this to every member of the power in Israel or Saudi Arabia. Let them listen. If you're there, bring the Keshe Foundation website down. I'll bring your nations down. By will, not by gun. Let's talk peace. And as I said, last time ever there'll be war. And if that war comes against our wish, we wipe the nation out. So, my American friends, this is the last warning. Let's change the habit and start peace talk. We all make mistakes. We accept the mistake made by the Americans. They didn't know that the president has taken them for a ride because he gave a promise on the dowry. It's better to stop the war than cleaning up the mess. I tried to stop the war, but for me cleaning up the mess is much easier than stopping the war. The problem is when the Americans withdraw, the power of United States will diminish. And from what I hear, from the instruction and the call of His Excellency President Xi to his nation yesterday, we stand by the nation of China. There is no hardship. There will be no shortage of food. There are systems and technologies which we can support if America goes through the threat. American farmers cannot sell. That's why suddenly aluminum and steel was no problem with Canada and Brazil, because Chinese are already planning and they will not buy food. They don't need to be forced. They looked into Philippines, to Thailand and other places to support their grain. So America lost. The increase of 25% illegal taxes on American good, on Chinese goods, who pays for it? The Americans pay. So in a way, the president is robbing from the Americans 25%, not from the Chinese. Chinese send their leftovers to the States, not their goods. Chinese don't need to steal technology. The Americans cannot develop the technology in their country. They bring it to China to develop it for them and they share it. Now it's become a crime, which it wasn't up to now. We brought technology, we shared, and the Chinese now have enough universities to be able to do the job. They don't need the Americans. They've shown it with Huawei. They are 15, 20 years ahead of America. And we will support any scientific organization or commercial to become better with the new technology and everything else. I do apologize from the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers that I had to start this week teaching, because when you became a follower of Keshe Foundation, you signed the World Peace Treaty. The World Peace Treaty means I will never enter war, and even if I know with my soul that there is such a thing, I give my soul to stop a war. And this is part of what I signed myself to. World Peace Treaty. Our American friends, withdraw. You're playing with ants and kittens of your own nation. Iran is a nation of lions. Don't play with big cats. Don't play with big cats, because if you get injured during the play, it's your problem. You picked two stronger boys to play with. We allowed this to go so far because we thought maybe the situation changed. But you got to understand, China, Russia and Iran stand on the ground of peace and protecting the peace, and now they're economically powerful enough to do so. Iran extension in development of the nuclear material, now the American withdrawn, would have been discussed further, because the new space technology needs part of the nuclear industry. Not for weapon, but for deep space and for many other applications on this planet. So I've spoken my piece, and my piece is to achieve peace. And now we know all this magic work and games of sanctions and sanction busting and putting Chinese under pressure, and this is just literally, when you want to rob, you've been to streets of London or New York, you get the gang of South Americans, 4 or 5 of them. One touches you, one pushes you, one picks your pocket without the other one going, and then you see everything is gone. And this kicking and pushing and shoving between the 4 or 5 of them to distract, to rob, was the sanctions on Iran, the Chinese pressure on taxes and raising and all that, to distract that they thought they achieve a most powerful technology in space, then they can control the whole planet. By God, you were children playing in the kindergarten and we were watching you. Now play the game.
Are you still there, Mr. Keshe? Hello, Mr. Keshe? I see the microphone's working, but I'm not hearing him. Still not able to hear you, Mr. Keshe. Still no audio. I still seem to be having some trouble with the audio from Mr. Keshe's end. I think he might be restarting. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello?
Hello, yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. You have both your
Yeah.
microphones open, so there might be some feedback occurring there.
I've been talking between the both, you couldn't hear me, it's no problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's good we are back. So, what we are trying to explain is very simple. We were all being cheated and we've all been distracted to pickpocket. But now we know we've been watching it with the remote cameras, as we say. And I urge the American administration to reconsider. Not for the sake of Iranians, not for the sake of Saudis. We live together, we're all of the same part of the world. I'm more worried about the Americans when they have to use all their rights to carry gun on each other when they have no food to eat, when there is no power to supply. The modern economy, the modern way of life has beautiful advantages if it's used by the wise leaders. And it can bring disaster for those when it's used by man of arrogance and self, what I call interest. We don't have a problem. As I said, unfortunately, I have many cousins in many continents and many parts of the world, and I have to be correct, as we love them all the same. Let us work in the direction of the peace. Now we know what you're up to. Now everybody knows what you're up to. But the one thing you didn't know, that we were watching you, knowing you while you were planning revolutions and uprisings on the name of the Islamic names in different countries in East Asia, and then using the support of the Israeli armed soldiers to train them to know how to be clever to do things. We watched you very clearly, very closely in Turkey and in Azerbaijan. And all precaution has been taken for those you trained. And all the arms which was manufactured in Italy, we are aware of it, all been counted for. I hope Vatican understand. Let's go back to teaching. Part of the teaching, part of the work we done in the space development and in being able to reach space is very simple. We have looked, and I use an example of the orange because we can all relate to it, we can understand it, we all have made the system, we know how it works. That we transfer to our thoughts the essence of the orange into the cup, and then we drank from the cup, and then we saw, we felt, the taste of the orange, the energy of the orange. There is a slight misunderstanding in this process. The misunderstanding is that when you created the cup, when you made the cup, do you see my screen?
Yes.
When you made the cup, I have to go thicker. When you made a cup and you put the orange here and you put different materials that you created, the zinc, the copper, and the other things, you created a condition of extraction of amino acid. In a way, the water you drank, the energy you transferred from the orange, you transferred the soul of the orange, because it still has a core. This is why when our dearest friend Alex in the morning wanted orange, he tasted the orange, because it was the call to the soul of the man. When he wanted the banana, which you put there, he tastes and received the energy of banana. When he wanted to get drunk at night, we know he was drunk for a couple of days using the African herbs. So he got drunk because that was his soul wanted to show his power, I can do. So in essence, we carried through the amino acid, the essence of the soul of the plant. And it gave our soul the pleasure to feel it when we wanted it, because it was call of the soul, it was call of the emotion. It had nothing to do with the water. This is why some of you say, I cannot taste it, it didn't taste right, it doesn't taste, I have no feeling. Because you did not consume the amino acid, the essence of the life which was taken. Because when you have these little things on the side, the zinc and GaNs of copper and the rest, you have created that CO2 conditioned absorption of the protein. So now you understand how we missed a little bit. Now you understand how we can feed mankind without anything in the space. We need to create a condition of the soul of that entity, and will carry all the emotion. You'll find out some of you were more successful when you had some NaCl in it, because it carries the conformation to the conformation of the taste, to the solid state as you have. Sodium has been used for that purpose. Then, this is all teaching. I just clarified for you, who, those of you who didn't understand, to understand the truth. But now, your problem is not a problem, but you have to learn a new thing. Now, you have the cup and the amino acid, and how can you create the orange? This time, the cup of water is the soul of the man. And then, in understanding, in essence of what you carried as a taste of orange, when you meet a man from planet Zeus, you want to explain to him how the orange looks. That he has the accessibility to his soul, that he can see and replicate it and enjoy what the mankind sees in this little ball. So the process of creation now reverses back to the condition of being able to convert the emotion and intention of the soul to dimension of physicality, or to dimension of the soul of the physicality, that the other soul can convert it the way he understands it. They might not even know what the sweet taste is, let alone the what we call the alcohol content on the skin of the orange. When we go to other places, we taste their food. It might not be, but we have to understand how they do it, and we enjoy it. Then we try to cook it, and we'll see how better we can do even than them. So how do we return the process? How do we convert our essence of emotion to show what a cat looks like on Earth to a man from the planet Zeus? How does it feel? What noises does it make? And now we know this animal, we made a mistake. It was supposed to be a cat, but it's got the noise of a dog. Because at that time we love a dog, and by mistake, in our soul conversion, we send the noise of the dog. It'll be very strange for the man on planet Zeus to get a small animal as a cat and barks like a dog, because it was our intention of different way while we were busy transferring the knowledge of the soul. How do we do this? And then, if you understand this, how do we transfer the knowledge? That we can do the same. I was in one of the private teachings last night, and I tried to explain this, and maybe we explain more for those of you who are not there. When we understood the condition of the creation of the soul, and then when in the past few teachings I explained the condition of where the skull of the man, in holding as a container the blood, which inside it gives the control of the plasma of the soul of the man to contain it. We understood that at the time when the heart of the man stops pumping or fails to give continuous gravitational magnetic field flow, which contains through its charges the soul of the man within the structure of the brain of the man, that at that point, if you cut any of these or the supply to them, it opens up the magnetic fields of the brain and a condition of the blood of the man, that the soul now has opened the cage, as we said before. That is free. Then mankind has to understand the next step of understanding of the totality of his life. As I explain this, I explain it to you in a very soft way that you understand. Where you have the soul of the man, this is the state of awakeness, when you're awake. This is at the state of when you sleep. When you're awake, and the blood circulation, which is the emotion of the physicality through the soul of the physicality, which is the heart, contains the cage and the soul to be more in line with what the physicality needs, does not matter what outside. When you go to sleep, if this was 10 Tesla power, now is 5 Tesla power, because there's blood circulation, the pressure and all the information has changed, because the physicality is not so much in use. Now you create two conditions where physicality is still awake, but the soul of the man takes a new dimension that it can release or be expanding its own fields beyond the dimension of physicality, which in this process will touch the soul of the mom and the dad and the cat we had years ago, or the great grandfather you never met, but it says on your great grandfather. So mankind is familiar with living in two dimensions, but he up to now didn't understand the process. Is the heartbeat of the man through the circulation of the blood, which contains, encages, holds on to the soul within the center of the brain of the man. And when you sleep, it's like, the gods go to sleep, the monkey can do what he likes and play around more and go further than they allow him. So the soul takes over and goes beyond the boundary of physicality. Or it releases, manages to release the strength, which is the strength of the physicality dimension of Mr. Cohen, that can come in touch with other souls. So now we understand when this state happens, the information still goes through the brain. That's why you remember, because now soul is communicating, but it has to go through the structure of the brain. So whatever is there stays, you remember the works of the memory. In so many ways, mankind should have understood why we dream, and part we remember the dreams in the 4 stages of the sleep. Now he explains it more. So in that process, if we understand, we go one step further, which in reality is very, very simple. As the soul of the man, in the reduction in the strength of the fields of the blood of the man, which controls the dimension of the soul of physicality as it goes through the heart, it can, for man to train himself to be able to live in both states of existence. One, to engage the soul, and one for the soul to engage the physicality. Then you can let the soul taste apple you tasted today and say, Mama bought this apple today, tasted it, was so nice. Oh yeah, it's nice. But mom was never there, but you transferred the same as that orange cup. This time you are the orange, and the soul of the mother is the cup. So mankind already is aware of this function, but up to now didn't understand. This is why some drugs we get addicted to, because it brings the compression of the soul or inhibition, opening of the soul due to the strength of the blood circulation. This is why if you allow through the breathing channels to strengthen the amount of the energy which goes to the heart and the lung, then you allow the dimension of physicality in the strength of its fields to change, that then as the soul has taken more boundary opening in interaction with the physical dimension of the body of the earth, man can levitate. Now you understand more. So in a way, now we understand a little bit more about the function of our own soul, the function of our physical dimension, and the function of the life on this planet. There are conditions that the blood stays in this circulation, where you contain it, when you hold it, when you close it like astronaut and create that pressure. Now that we become man of space and we don't have any more space suits, how do we guarantee our lives in space? How do we control that the soul of the man stays within the physicality of the man? Or we accept what it brings, this is what the soul has brought, and this is what physicality has brought, and we start learning to work with both. In one point, we are the cup, and in the other, we are the orange. In so many ways, in the dimension of space technology, now the teachings, as I said yesterday in the private teachings, moves in how we live in the space. We learn everything about Earth, how you can increase harvest, how you can make this and that. We learn about the position of the soul of the man and the control of it. Now is the next part of the steps of the development in the ladder of the knowledge of the universe. And in this step, you have to learn how to live, how to share, how to show, how to be able to contain. And this comes back, as I said, to the process of knowledge, of understanding, of the process of containment of the fields of the universe. As I was saying very recently, yesterday I think, the knowledge which we have given you in health up to now is a fraction of what you need to know. None of you have ever tried to do a surgery. You get a cut. How do you sew close the wound on your arm, on your body? You get a lump. How do you cut it when you have no surgeon? We said we take no doctors and we take no medicine. How do you create a condition of plasma that you can cut something out of your body, or you can mend, you can heal the bones if you break it? There's a lot to learn yet. And in this process, you're the last man standing and you got your hand caught in the door and broken or bleeding. You stay there till it goes. Or have you understood the condition of the 3 layers, the way you made the structure of the space technology, that you can heal by one touch the wound? That's all it is. That's how it takes time to heal, we call it. It's just that layers come to create that condition. There is in the technology, it's in the one of the patterns in a specific category that allows you to heal, allows you to cut and grow. If you lose a leg and you're last man and you're going to live 1,000 years, you're going to walk around with one leg. You're hopping the whole universe. We have to understand the process of the creation. We have to understand the process of creation of elements of the body of the man. If you are blind in two eyes and there is no eye, everything is taken out, are you going to stay blind for the rest of the 1,000 years in space? Or through the knowledge you have, you create the eye? I can. You should be able to do the same if you understood the teachings. It's the story of the orange and the cup. When you think about giving an eye, oh, I have to do this and that. When I want to give an eye, I become the cup and I give the orange. I give from the soul of my sight to the man to see, not to create the eye of the man, even though it will create itself when it receives the soul. You have to understand when to be the cup and when to be the orange. And in both conditions has not to be to your advantage. You are not the taker, you are the giver. You are here to serve. So in the coming days and coming teachings, we have to learn a lot more. How do we create a condition to do operations? How do we learn to heal wounds? How do we, with a touch, we don't need to wait 3 weeks to grow. It should need 3 seconds to grow. Because it's the same condition, instead of waiting 3 weeks for all the fields to come together to make the 3 layer, now you have the knowledge, you do it there. It used to take us 80 days to go around the world and it was very hard job. Now we do it, as Iranians do, in 8 minutes. So the knowledge has to be understood that it can be applied the correct way. We have to understand the principle, the totality, not what we would like to see. How we transfer energies, how we bring energy, how we allow certain energies to cross our borders, our understanding, our teachings, our education, all comes into account. Our emotions. I like the wound to heal, but it takes me a second. But if I don't do it and mom sees it, she loves me more and I get attention and love from the mom. So I let it bleed, even though I can touch it and heal it. Why have I become a thief? I go, mom, can I have some love, please? I don't need to cut myself to bleed. Cutting and bleeding should not be excused to steal from the mom's love. Because you're stealing from your physicality to steal from something which you already have. We have to understand the process of the creation. We have to understand what it means to give blood and where it stands the blood and what it's used for. We heard yesterday fantastic news that one of the kings of the world for the first time had to give blood, otherwise you had to pay €5,500 damages per day to the court, and they would have been arrested for defying court order to confirm that his blood runs in the body of a woman. And what is interesting, as I said, this blood, which a girl is trying to confirm to be, for him to be the father, does not mean that because now he's the father, he loves her. Because now doctors confirm he always loved her, because the mother told her, this is your daughter, even though my husband doesn't know. But the game is always fair in the balance of the soul of the man. When one plays out, the other one do play same. While the king has been busy making children, the queen has been busy making children with the others that the king thinks the same. So now the question has become for this kingdom, is the present king of the old king in a way? Or would we see the change of kingdom to a woman because the king is not of the king? Just because the mother said does not count. As you know, in one of the European states called Belgium a few years ago, as I mentioned it before, they decided to see how many percentage of the children are of the fathers who brings them up. And it's something around 28% of all the children brought up in the state of Belgium are not of the father. They have the name on their birth certificate. And the king is one of them in respect to the queen and to respect the king, most probably. That's why always people follow the leaders. So now, is the love of the man who made the king and he knows he's his child any different than the king who knows made the daughter and is not claiming not to? But the question comes, who is the father of the man who calls himself a king? As while one has been busy, so the other. One was making and was made. This brings a lot of things in ending a kingship. Because now there is a very big question mark in a lot of these things when it comes to that, as there are others who claim to have the same father, now that the blood is given and they can confirm, they can request it to be tested against their blood, will show that these children who confirm to be and the father to be, that up to now was not to be because of the protection and immunity, the daughter who gave birth to these children, which now can confirm, were young teenagers. The case is getting very complicated. And in that process, the Keshe Foundation has been touched by it. And we'll explain this more, because the man who paid for the first patent that you all enjoy is one of those children who claims to be the son. That's how we've been touched. We were not aware of at the time. So in a way, all of you who read these patterns, which the money was paid by this man to the Red Circle, claims to be one of those children, where the age of the mother is beyond age of consent. Now you understand. Now that we are going into European Court of Justice, we can reveal more. But as they say, all the roads end up in Rome. All the children of the kings end up in Persia. I hope you understand. And this is for international courts to confirm. And we give our thanks to the judges in Kingdom of Belgium for the correct conduct. The way they supported us and took us everything through to get to European Court, and now with this judgment of the King to give blood, that many people will become to be the new queen and the kings, and many kings will go back to the nation where the original father comes, who was a king, the true king. As I said, in the kingdom of Iran, and the kings of Iran have been busy too. We got to understand now why many pressures was put on Iran in different directions. Because brothers try to get brothers in power. Now you understand more when we talk about the peace. It's not just Iran space program. There is more. We asked Jalal to teach us a little bit more today. And he has recorded some, I was told, 19 minutes of teaching. And this 19 minutes of teaching will teach us a lot more. And I hope our team in the background have it ready that we can listen to the teaching of a marvelous man. If he does not lose his head like many others when they got to teach, they suddenly forgot about the Keshe Foundation and they called themselves the kings. Are we ready to go?
Yes, I believe so, Mr. Keshe.
Please go ahead.
Hello everyone, good day. My name is Jalal and I am thankful for the Keshe Foundation to give us the space to share with you some of the knowledge, what we are.
Can I ask, is this a video or is it just a voice recording?
Voice.
Voice
No,
only.
it's a video, Flint, a full video.
I was told it's a video.
Let me play it then if you don't have it there, if it didn't come through. Maybe it needed some background files or something. It was a Zoom recording. Okay, so I'll play it. Let me share.
Please go ahead.
Oh, just a second.
Have we got it?
Yeah, I've just got it here. Just gonna re-share it. There we go. That should work, I think.
Hello everyone, good day. My name is Jalal and I am thankful for the Keshe Foundation to give us the space to share with you some of the knowledge, what we are learning and sharing each other in the private teaching. I will go quick in that. from the CO2 books. We put nano-coating plate and zinc plate with water salinity and connected together. We made gases here, the CO2 or CH3 or whatever, and we took out the gases and we are working with it. We saw the effect and we see the amount of fields, what is emitting out or extracting. The same principle we have in the matter state. We have the hand and we have the eye and we have the ear, we have the nose and we have the mouth. This is in physicality. We do not know anything about this position, and this position is the gas state. So we start opening the door of the fields. Because now we know there is a door to a higher state of all of these sense. And this is the part what Mr. Keshe teaching, and this is the soul part. To work with the soul part, because the soul, we cannot see it, only we can interact with it by the fields. So you choose in which part you're going to interact with the soul and connect to it. We start simply to open this door with the hand, because the hand is the easiest part and we can work with it, all of us, and it's very easy and it's already connected to the soul. But we took it not in this state of the soul, we took it in the state of the emotion. And this part, we do not want it now. We need to interact with the fields, not with the emotion. Until you are connected to all of them, and I think it's not very hard, because once you notice there is a door, you're gonna try to open this door. And the most beautiful thing, what Mr. Keshe taught us, in the beginning, we have a normal body with emotion. That's all. The beautiful part that we know that we have inside here a soul, and this soul is connected to the universe. Although we are a universe inside, but we are connected also to the bigger universe and the creator, and we are part of it. So from this now, from this time, you will act depending on this jewelry. And more you are connected to it, more you receive, more it receives, because it's like a flow. More you take from it, and she will love to give it, because then the flow of giving and taking will continue. She will give you, and she will take more, and they will give you more. So, in the beginning, to understand how we interact, we need not physicality, we need a field. How we build this field to interact with the same kind, the fields. You are not interacting with anything of matter, because matter is not matter. The most important thing that you are interacting with fields. Once you interact with the fields, once you know it, once you understand it, then it will open up all of the doors, because partially all of them is one. Once you open one, the second one will open itself, because you are dealing with it. You give it the trust, you give it the possibility to open itself. Open itself, it's only when you understand there is. And when there is, you can connect to it, because you are already connected to it. You need only knowing. And knowing what Mr. Keshe brought up all these years, for us to know that we are capable and we can deliver. So, I try to make it short. So, to work with the fields, first thing, you need to put your hands together in this way. Without touching, just put your hands just like this. And you can do it wherever you are now. If you're watching, just put your hand like this. In a second, maybe not more than 20 seconds, 30 seconds, you will feel something. Heat, or some pressure, or some tickling. From my point, I go to the tickling, because it's the way that I communicate with other things and open the doors. So, if you put your hand like this, and then you will notice, for me, I am practicing that, and more you practice, more you have a knowledge, more you open doors in this particularly hands of the fields of the hands. So you will notice there is tickling here in this area, tickling here, especially in the left hand, because if you know about the right hand and the left hand, one it give and one it take. So this is coming with the time. Then you will understand it. You are taking or you are giving. So, or you maintain both, give and take in the same time. You only need to connect. You do not need to interact. So, in the beginning, you put your hand like this. You will notice the tickling. After a while, when you put your hand like this, and you will notice something very beautiful. It's like a magnet. If I bring this magnet here like this, you see this one pushing one the other. If you see like this move, this one pushing this one, you will notice the same thing here in your hands. If you try to open them, because they stuck in this position, if you try to open them, it's this hard, it's like this one. They do not want to open. You will feel this one. This one, you will feel it. All of you will feel that, and you need to practice it more and more and more. If is it in this position or in this position or 1 meter or 10 meters. There will be connection between them, there will be interaction between them, and then you will feel it. It's up to you where you put your hands in the future, where you put your hands, in which direction, you will see there is interaction. So, fields would love to work with the fields. So you go anywhere where there is a field. When there is a field, there is a life. Wherever. If you put your hand to an electricity device, you will notice different thing. When you put your hand to plants, you will notice the tickling and the pressure, and it's trying to communicate with you. If you put your hands, just one hand, and with me, I am working a lot with the left hand, because for me, left hand is the receiver, more of the right hand, because in my understanding, the right hand is the giver when you want to give. So you work with the left hand. If you have a maghraf, if you have a nano-coated copper wires, if you have ganses, whatever kinds of gans, you put your hand to it, just leave it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then you will see the connection between them. And you can try yourself. You go back. Every step you take it back or forward, you will notice different level of interaction, different kind. In the beginning, you will not notice that because you are new for that. With the time, go with only one thing to understand it. Where is the border of it? Because even the GANs, it's not one. The GANs is a lot of GANs in. Everyone give you a strength, and this strength you can notice it with your hand. Be calm. Don't make a big deal from it, although it is a big deal, but you need to understand. You be calm. Try not to move much, because when you move, there is motion. And when there is motion, there is emotion. You do not need that. Be calm. Be, as we say, in peace with yourself. You do not want anything from it, because this is a very big responsibility. Once you are coming through this, to this door, there is a responsibility. I'm telling you, in the beginning, they will show you. And every one of them, they will show itself for you. Only when you are in peace, that means you do not want to use that knowledge to harm anyone, you do not need or you do not want to steal from anyone, you do not to take from anyone, and even you do not want to give anyone. In the beginning, you do not want to do anything of this. Because how you know? You are not forcing. That's why I'm saying you do not give in the beginning. You need to understand, that's all. So this is a small door, open up a very, very big door in the level of the soul. Once you understand that, practice it every time, wherever you are. Just if you are walking, just put your hands like this and walk, or behind you. And even try to understand yourself. Put your hands in all the sort of places of your body. Put it in your forehead. Put it here in your level of the heart. Put it here in the level of your stomach. Put it back in this way. You will see different fields. You will notice so many different things. This is in the beginning to bring you to another level of understanding and interacting with that. Once you play with that, then you will have a lot with the reactors. You can do a lot. You can take energy, especially from the ganses. You just put your hand here, put the other hand in the other, come here, put your hand to this ganses, put the other hand to this ganses. You make a circle between the two, and you take from one, delivery in the other one. You will notice that with the time, it will become very easy. The most important thing that all what you do to the benefit of the others, not you. And with the time you will understand, they will give you from them. Because more you give, especially in this knowledge, more you open up in this knowledge, more you give, more you receive. So this is a quick teaching. I hope it will open doors for you. We will continue in giving from this knowledge. A lot of knowledge seekers working with that, and we are interacting with them. You will understand a lot that transformation of energies, transformation of thoughts, knowing of things, wishing for things, it will become easy and easy. If you do not put any attention for it, it will come. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And I will try to answer any question in the time to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic. Is he in the background that he can answer if anybody has any questions? Can you hear me?
Yes, just having a look here.
Yeah. Are there any questions?
I don't see Jalal here right now.
I am here.
Oh, you are? Okay. Very good, Jalal.
You cannot escape, Mr. Keshe, whatever you do.
Thank you very much. Watching you, it reminded me of the first videos we made. If you remember the magnets on the board and explaining the neutron and opening of a neutron, then it brought a lot of memories back. It's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Or,
Mr. Cash, to give me the chance.
no, it's just you understood, but it needs to be cultivated, it needs to be grown, it needs to be understood, and it's nice to see that we passed the level of material state, because then you can go further with this. If there are any questions from Jalal, please.
I would like only to say, Mr. Cash, this is only one step to the others to interact with it, to understand it, and to practice it. And we have a lot of these, especially the knowledge seekers. They are doing so much with it. But I prefer to put it just simple like this, so quick and easy. And then in the future, we are making lots of videos to the others to show them what we are capable to do.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Are there any questions? Just let's see. Rick has to open up the Pandora boxes of questions.
Yes, and again, I'll remind the attendees they can put their virtual hands up and we can allow you to speak here at the Zoom. So I was wondering about this in terms of, we have the hands, or what we could call the sensing of the fields, as sort of a baseline that Jalal's presenting here. And then we have other senses that we see up on the board as the other indicators and so on there. Now, or icons, you might say, of other ways of this soul interaction, because Jalal's taken the hands, which are what we use as humans to do the various work and play that we do as humans. Generally, we use our hands in order to accomplish those things, and most of the time we're not aware or using our hands as sensors, but more just as physical apparatus to get something done because of some emotion that makes us spring into motion and do things. And a lot of that might be eating or working to make money or whatever kinds of things, activities that we do as humans. So what he's done is sort of indicated a new way of using these tools of our hands to enter into a dimension which is virtual. It's you can't see it with the eyes or hear it or smell it or taste it with the other senses that we normally have. So is this the baseline for most people, or do some people just naturally use their eyes or ears or nose or taste in order to sense through their soul, with the soul, or with the soul through the physicality, I guess? Would that be like the second drawing that you made earlier today, Mr. Keshe?
Are there any questions for Jalal?
Right, thank you. We have Like here with his hand up. You want to go ahead?
Good morning. This is Ike from Los Angeles. Yeah, I have a question. The left hand and the left palm and the right palm, which one is the receiver, and how could you tell?
Okay. Look, now we know there is gravitational and there is magnetical. And it's up to you if you want to grab the magnetical and interact with it, to give and take with it, or you go to the gravitational and you interact with it and give and take with it. But normally, you see in the behavior of the man, when he is giving with the right hand. When he's taking normally with the left hand. So if you put your hands and you notice the fields, you will notice so many things in your both hands, so different fields. From my side, when I practice it, I notice that the left hand is more sensitive for all these fields. When I interact with something and want to move it, and we done it especially in the private teaching, the left hand is not stronger as the right hand when I want to move something.
So is it more of the one that has much tingling effect? Is that how you tell it? Or if you're right-handed or left-handed?
It is how you're structured. Partially, everyone is different from the other. But I'm telling you from my side that when I go with the left hand, it's different when I go with the right hand. And if you notice, even in the teaching, how you're winding your wires, right turn and left turn, which one is gravitational and which is the magnetical. And from the teaching, you know now that the gravitational is the giver and the magnetical is the taker.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. By the way, Rick, you mentioned the eyes and the smell, and so I came through this before with one of my relatives who she was 10 years old, 11 years old, and she have all this. In the beginning, it was a superpower because we do not understand. We say this is a gift from God, but without she is knowing, she can sees things and know things from the eye because the soul is showing itself in this position. But now when you are practicing simply with the hand, because the hand is the most simple one and the most powerful one, because we are killing with the hand. And as you said, we are grabbing everything, taking everything with the hand. You cannot kill with your eye. You cannot kill with your nose. You cannot kill with your mouth. You can kill only with your hand. So this is the part which need in the beginning to know about and what is capable of. So we put it in the peaceful way. The peaceful way that you interact with the fields only. You do not need to touch anything. You can receive everything and you can give everything. Simple and dangerous.
Jalal, this is Azar. Good morning.
Good morning, Azar.
I think you can kill with your eye too.
Yeah. this we know. This we know. Only in our culture.
Yep.
Funny a woman would bring that up, but
exactly. Now you understand why Muhammad, bless his name, said we have to cover the eye of the woman. That's where all the crimes are done. There is are there any other question? You remember that old songs? It says, "They kill me softly." It goes back to 1970s.
He killed her with his hand.
It's the power of the eye. If there are not any other questions, Rick?
I don't see any direct questions.
Mr. Cash, they do not need to ask because they will practice and they will notice. This is very simple, believe me.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much. With your teaching, you brought a lot of bits. Maybe we have to understand it's not magic. We have to understand the process. That why is this and the way it goes and how it is. If you notice, Jalal drew pictures of the hand and the nose. I don't like this little thing. The nose and the mouth and everything else. Scientifically, the size and the use of each sensors or each part of the body dictates the space used in the brain for that part. And this is one of the reasons when we get amputation, we lose operation of the arm. We cannot regrow it, or it's dead. It's harder to grow if it's not done at the time. So when you look at the hands of the man takes a very big part of the brain on the side, just over your ear. Where, for example, the upper hand, the what do you call it? The upper hand, the lower hand, and the upper hand take very small spaces compared to the hand itself. But we're talking about the hand from the wrist on. We're not talking about the lower arm and upper arm. And we see scientifically, if you draw a man like this, there are less parts of man have activities or part of activities in the brain of the man. This is something scientifically proven, we know for quite some time. So the more we use something, an organ, the more space cells are allocated for its function in the brain of the man. And then that's why we see sports people amplify certain muscles in their body, because they use it for that, and brain allocates a lot of what you call cells to it. And that's why when our muscle tissue gets damaged in such a place, it takes such a long time. The sports people within a few weeks are back on track, because the brain has already allocated a huge number of cells for that, so it's already ready. If it comes damaged, I'm ready, because it's used too much. This is one of the reasons we see this. But so the brain size, the size of the brain in allocating area for each use is there. So when you start using your left hand to feel energies, to feel the transfer of energies, you will get into a very strange position. The left hand will, because they accept energy more, it creates a bigger left lobe of the brain. By large, they say the two sides of the brain are the same, but practically the left side is slightly more, because it receives more energy. And that's why they say that people left-handed have different characteristics, because everything goes through the left hand. But on the other hand, if you look, the heart of the man is on the left side. You have to understand, when Jalal speaks about you feel in your left hand and more than the right hand, it means the left has to be weaker, not stronger. Principle of the energy in the plasma transfer is the stronger always gives to the weaker. Because the heart of the man takes a lot of energy on the left side. So it demands energy. This is why our left hand is more, what do you call, receiver. Scientifically, we understand the process. But at the same time, being closer, it radiates more out. But on the other hand, because the growth of the energy transfer, because it doesn't go just through the hand, the energy transfers right across the environment. This side, which is the left side, is responsible for the right side. So with a higher energy, we give more to this side. It's transferred. It receives its energy through the environment of the left, but it gives energy through the direction of the right. because that's what it does. The right is weaker. So that's why we are givers on the right side. We understand the process. And that is why the energy of the right is stronger and it travels back to the left. We understand these. So in a way, if you look, we understand the process of the creation. For an organ to receive has to be weaker than the environment which creates it. And this is what we have. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah. Okay, no problem, because we are running two systems. One keeps on falling out, one stays on.
I think we lost the whiteboard there temporarily.
The whiteboard, yeah, it disappeared temporarily. You're gonna come back. And this is why we have such a motion between the left and the right. As the energies, because the left hand is weaker, always body looks after the weak. So it gives energy to it. It's where I'm weak, I need. That's why we take everything from the left hand. And the reason for the left hand to be weaker is because the heart is more on the left, and to run such an operation of the body, it takes a lot of energy. And it needs to absorb. The right is a bit too far. And in that process, as the fields travel to the upper layer, then you understand that you create an energy which is absorbed as it's a field by the left brain. Because left brain now receives the direct energy, it doesn't go through the neural system, partially does, it becomes stronger, so it has more energy, but the left side is responsible for the right side, it creates a stronger right hand. In a way, if you look at it, why do we shake hand with the right hand? Because it's where the strength comes. It's stronger because it can give more. Have you ever seen the battle of presidents when they stand in front of each other and they shake each other's hand till somebody submits? Because in that handshake, we measure each other. How much are you taking from me? How much are you? I'm a giver. It's like putting two North Poles against each other. And you see which North Pole makes the condition for the other one to receive more, because now you're weaker. I give it to you. You see these German chancellors are trained for this. I've watched many, even the present German chancellor, as a woman, she's trained in, as we saw with Jalal, Germans train their politicians at the high level through the psychological pattern of conformation of their existence. And you see all of them. We saw the ex-chancellors very strong and heavy-handed in shaking, because in that shake of the hand, they already received the submission. I'm me to give. You're the receiver. It doesn't matter what you want to be. And I can financially support you because I have the industry. I have the strength to do it. This we understand fully. We are fully aware of these processes now, and it's good for knowledge seekers to understand why you receive. And then when you become in that process detached from it, then you will see some strange phenomenon that if we go back to what we explained in the process of the other parts of the teaching, that I'm trying just to stabilize something. Okay. Let me get this on the screen back while the screen is still on. You will find out in carrying with what Jalal was trying to explain, as you use your left hand, and you transfer more energy to the left side of the brain, because the energy, it doesn't go through the nerves. Most of it goes through the environment of it. So you create a condition for the soul. Where your soul here has a different energy recipient with the circulation of the blood to the brain of the man. And in the future teaching, I'll teach you a lot about this. And in this process, you can literally dictate the condition of the emotion. Because in giving more, we dictate the soul, the condition of the soul to one other side. It's a weaker compared to, so it gives to. And then you understand how some of the psychological patterns of diseases, we call it, appear. Because when you take with the left and you force a condition, do not forget, this thing works with a pump. The soul of physicality and soul of man too. Try something very interesting. If you have a lover, with your wife, you love your child, you love your dog or whatever, try to handle the person with the left hand and with the right hand. And see how emotionally you feel. A good lover always sleeps the loved ones on his left side, because it gives from the heart too. It takes the energy of the strength to strengthen the love. And then you try to sleep on the right and hold. This is the hand which is supposed to be the giver. You see, you feel a lot of people's emotion through the left hand side if you hold them. You see, the ones who walk on your right take a lot, and you know how much they're taking that you drain. Because you're the giver, but they need to take. You hold the two hands of the child and try to balance. You create a stable condition. You're in a conflict with your partner, with your son or whatever. Do not just hold their hands in your hand. Left in the right and right. Your left in there, right and right. And then you see where you hold their hand opposite, right to left. If you hold the hand cross or you hold the hand face to face, you see, you feel different understanding. This is why the mothers have more contact, more control with the children. They have more influence with the children than the fathers do. Because they breastfed the child from the left breast, always. I give you the milk, you give me the energy of the youth to confirm for me to give milk. It's a cycle. And that embeds in the brain at the same time as it receives energy from the child. It's like putting your hands on it. This is why the mothers feed naturally from the left, because they're already giving. They need to take, and the weakest side of taking is on the left, because it's close to the heart. It's already heart has put everything into it. When you hold your lover hands, you know if they betrayed you or they're lying to you. Doesn't matter who, son, child. I usually ask for people to see their hand. The shape, the pattern of the hand gives everything away. If you've been with me, I know who lies by looking, but I close my eyes. It's a very difficult position to be in my place when you can read the soul. Physicality is just a mirage. And they lie in your face, black and white, and you have to stand there and say, yes, I can't remember. I never did anything wrong. But I see the soul, I know the wrong. It's very much what was the discussion of the teaching today. We've all been camouflaged. We didn't know what was wrong or right. Now we know. Us ignoring, which become us, a lot of you that you now you're going through this process of understanding of the fields and emotion, and then you can expand it to allow your soul to come out. Then it'll bring you a lot of comprehension, a lot of understanding, a lot of strength, that lying through the physicality is 1,000 worse trying to lie through the soul, connected with physicality, because souls never lie. And this is what the problem is. This is what the problem is with our society in the man's level. That's why we're still alive. We catch a bird, we give it to the left side. I've taken this for you to take the energy off. We cut with the left. Sorry, we feed ourselves with the left and we cut with the right. Because it's where the energy comes in. Then you understand the structure of the soul. Then you understand how you react. When you open your hands, the lining of the hand shows the level of the emotion. The openness of the hand shows the level of emotion. The way the gap between the fingers dictates what energies you are taking. Many people who know, they tell me, we're afraid to show you anything. Because I see the desires and I see the lies and I see everything else. And as you become more and more close to the soul, to understanding, energizing, connecting, you'll become all the same.
That's why I cover it.
It doesn't work with covering.
I know that.
You can put a blanket on it, it still is the same. It's been trained to absorb the energy of the universe.
I try to cover it from you.
If you look at in many of what we call our time, we raise our hand to the sky, because it's not what we are giving, is what we can receive to elevate, to cover the weaknesses we have that we need. Because the earth cannot give us that what we need. The earth can give us the physical dimension. And that's is very, very interesting. We're doing some tests. We'll show you pictures very soon, you will understand. And the interesting part is, now we get to know more about ourselves. Now we get to know more how to to give energy to our soul. That is balanced energy, is not one-sided energy. Is understanding of the totality, not what it suits us. One of the biggest part of our brain uses is our mouth and our lips. Body uses in the brain a very major part to do with the lips. We taste food with it, we kiss with it, we talk through it, we absorb energy from the space of the universe from it. Lips and mouth take huge amounts of part of the operation of the brain compared to the other parts, because it has to handle everything. When we understand this, a lot of things becomes much easier. A lot easier, as Jalal said, for us to be able to give the energy to our soul that the physicality does not kill. If we understand that one of the ways to gain energy is through what it is, then we understand it. We understand how to balance our own emotions. It's a very, very beautiful way, the way the teachings are coming up step by step. We all learn, we all evaluate our own learning, and as I said in one of the recent teachings, the time has come to leave the Ganses and nano-coating. It was there to confirm the existence of the universal energy. Now you have to understand that Gans is within you. You call it the soul of the man. And it's you who has to decide how much it can give to its physicality that does not need to kill for. If we learn that through the time, we call it, I was talking before, meditation, that we allow the dimension of the fields of the soul of the man to go beyond the boundary of the physicality of the man, then we take from the universal energy what is near us, what is near to us. And those of us who manage to go to a deeper strength will can, and in a way, will receive higher order energy from the depth of the universe. And those who go in understanding of the totality to be a totals, what are called zero, non-existence, we call it in the English language humbleness. Then if your level of humbleness, the true humbleness, reaches the level of nothingness, then you receive from the soul of the Creator. And not many has managed to achieve that. Not many. Because at that point, the soul of the man becomes a shining star, a brilliant white gold. Because it gives everything. Thank you very much for today. It's nearly 3 hours. If there are any questions, I try to answer. And if there are no questions,
Mr. Keshe, I have a question.
couldn't I think if Azar will be there? Yes, Azar.
You know, when you talk about the hand, and the hand is it defining of who we are, like we're born with it, like somebody is lying, somebody is cheating and killing. So what's the point of talking to a president that he was born with a hand that it lies and cheats. How are you going to change that?
He's got a soul, forget about his physicality. What happens if he has an accident or he loses his arm? What are we going to do? We can't touch him anymore.
So although he's born with that hand, the shape of it, but with the elevation of his soul, you can change it.
You see, there is a problem, a very big problem. The children who are born in wealth, they do not see wealth, they see power. The children who are born in poverty, they look for wealth. And in that misconception, because the wealth was made by the others and they're just the users, they see as a way to confirm their existence. This is a very natural phenomenon. That is why most of the business after third generation collapse. When you come from the position of the wealth, as much as you like, you got to understand the father who was making the wealth did not have time to make friendship with the child. So the child only see the power of the wealth, not the maker of the wealth. And he has no connection with it. And the American president is of that category. Has to confirm he's better than the dad. And this is the problem. We see this continuously with the past American administrations. It become families of wealth, which boy has, and how they are connected to being that one. It has not been earned by understanding, it has been earned by thieving. So it becomes a natural habit. I've said this before, if you go on the path of the life of many people, you see how they change themselves. I was explaining this, read about the life of a guy called Hot Chocolate. Many of us know it. If you're in 60s, 70s, 80s guys around, black guy from London, from England, Jamaican background. If you read about his life story, it tells you a lot about the change of the position and understanding of the status. And then, not coming from it, you do not know how to handle the status. This is what we see with a lot of suddenly rich coming actors and actresses, because they come from the lowest of the low. They lived in a bedsit, maybe sharing with 10 people, till they made a movie, and then they do not know how to handle it. But you see those who come from the background of the movie stars in Europe or in America or in other places, second, third generation, to them is the right to be there, otherwise they get all sorts of diseases. This is one of the reasons I keep my children away from the foundation. They have to start, they have to have the life of their own and decide on their own to build their lives, not to be, because then the foundation will not exist very soon. And inheriting wealth which you never worked for and trying to hang on to it to keep the same lifestyle makes you a thief, makes you a cheat and a liar, as we see. The father made, look at the Bush family, look at the Clintons, they all come from the same background. It's become a bunch of kids who the fathers and the grandfathers have made, and now they have to be there to show they are, and when they are there they try to do more and more to be more better than the father. It's most of them, 99% of them is proving that they're better than their dad, and then they do most ridiculous things. And it's right across. In most of the wealthy families is this way, because they don't carry the knowledge, they've seen the power. But they never understood the money came through wisdom and hard work. They never carried the wisdom, they just learned how to spend it. When your job is to spend money, it's very difficult. It's not easy. If you're a housewife with a rich husband, you understand what I'm talking exactly. He makes them, you could spend it. I bought everything. What else can I buy? I've got nothing to do. I'm bored. And we're seeing what boredom brings. Pulling 150,000 soldiers around for dowry. This is how bad it gets. And it can get worse with the others. That's why one of the things I said, should we know, no one of a wealthy families should ever become a leader. A leader has to come amongst the people, through the people, with the correct conduct. At the moment, American structure is which family will spend enough money to get their children to be the president, and the rest of the nation pays for it. Because the spoiled rat does not know anything. It's just being splintered. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, we have a couple people that have been waiting with their hands up here. We've got Ed. If you want to go ahead, Ed had a question in the Q&A, but I think if you want to ask it personally, it'd probably be better.
Okay. This is Ed from Indiana. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. The teachings of Jalal, and actually many things that you have said in the past, have reminded me of a spiritual line of education I was part of for many years, which tried to teach the receiving of, quote, spiritual information by what they call the spiritual five senses: the feeling, the tasting, the touching, the hearing, and so on. And then what they called a sixth sense, which was just a general knowingness. And I wondered if you felt this was in any way what you were trying to convey.
What do you mean exactly? You got to understand, does the soul smell? Or does the soul taste?
Right. I don't. Well, those are our physical senses. It's what conveys to our physicality. However, they're connected to the soul, and it's what the soul has to be able to use, at least in the initial stages, to convey to us so that we understand.
In a way, what we see in the dimension of physicality, that's why I asked you the question, and has and carries a dimension in the dimension of the soul of the man. But not the way we smell and taste. In recognizing the reality. It's very much like, you know, we watch a movie on television. We see they talk, they kiss, they cuddle, we feel the emotion, we feel the tears, we cry with them. And we cannot tell the difference if you do it in a way, if you put two people next to each other, if they're crying because of they've seen something or a suffering, or they're crying because there's an onion and makes them to cry. We are devoid of the smell in the present line of communication. When the mankind goes to the next step of being able to smell, when you watch real smell through the development of the technologies upcoming in the time, then you will get the full essence, will be part of. Then we'll have a soul participation, then we make a decision in what is there to be done, not expectation or assumption. In essence, the soul of the man recognizes everything because it made an image of itself. But it's in a different strength, in a different dimension. Not the way we smell as a smell. It's not the, we understand the condition, what does that the smell indicates, that strength indicates danger, good news, something which I'll enjoy. Man has changed it to, in that sense of smelling it, but as a soul, each strength to it has a meaning. And we can develop this, mankind can develop this very, very rapidly. And we can encourage it, we can train it. It's like the way we train ourselves to learn alphabet. Now we have to understand the alphabet of the soul of the man. And then we become free. Otherwise, we are what we are now, illiterate about our own soul. And now we start teaching the alphabets of the soul. We still have to make sentences and the grammars and all of it which we have not understood, but in a way we live through it. It's a very interesting time coming up.
So as long as we are in the physicality, would the soul's accessing our five senses communication line, would that be present to be trying to communicate with us certain things? For instance, if we were in great danger, it might communicate to us by a certain sound that we didn't hear physically with our ears, but it was as if we heard it, and it would communicate to us a danger.
In a way, mankind has got to gain trust that, as I said in teaching earlier on, that it can be within the soul while the soul can be within the man. And this goes back to the story of the bird. If we let the soul go, can we bring it back in? That we can love it and nourish it. It's the affair of the soul of the man and the soul of physicality is a love affair. It's Adam and Eve. One needs the other to confirm the existence of, and one feeds from the other to feed from it and feed it. And then we got to gain a trust that then we can travel the span of the universe. The way you can levitate, then you can get attracted to different dimensions. And then, do we understand the language of where we go to, or do not need the language, but do we understand that all the souls interact the same? If you look at the suns and all the stars in the universe, which are all the suns, they are aware of each other's position, and none of them has a blue eye, and the other one have a long hair, and the other one has got a short stuff. They all radiate, and according to their strength, we see them in different dimensions, positions. In part of the space technology, you will learn very soon, is us who dictates and decides the space from a star or position, not the star from us. This will change a lot of things in the space technology in the coming time. The way you increase the strength of your soul or reduce the strength of your soul, the stronger you become, you strengthen it, you can levitate your physicality because the soul goes further. The more humble you become attached to, you become closer to the earth. It's us who has to learn how to elevate it and how to separate it. The first, when mankind started learning the space technology, I was teaching this very recently, to get up to the first 5 meters needs a little bit more fields. When you get into the space about certain you can travel anywhere in the universe, because the tie to this planet, or any planet or any dimension, is less. The hardest thing that many of you have not managed to achieve, right, is this separation from the gravitational magnetic field. Once you get to a point, it's totally different. Those who research on the 50th floor with the space technology achieve better results than those that are in the ground. I know. As I said to somebody some time ago, if you want to make a good spaceship to fly in, make your star formation, get on the helicopter and jump off the helicopter. And then you can go faster up than actually you're dropping down. Because there is lower pull, the distance is more. Because there is less. I show this in a lot of my teachings. If you ever seen, I take two magnets and I put it on the table. You see the gap between the two is 2 fingers. When the two magnets are flat, 2 ring magnets. If you put one of the magnets on its side, like a wheel, you see the distance grows to about 4 or 5 fingers. If you put both on the wheel, you see the distance becomes 10 fingers. If you move one of them away from the table, you see from longer distance you can direct it. If you hang both of them, you see the distance increases enormously. It's the same with the soul of the man, attachment to physicality. You can't go further from it. If you could backpack a star formation and jump up a plane so many thousands of meters up, you fly, you achieve your gravitational field faster than you're trying to do it on Earth. That's why if you look at, I've mentioned this many times, if you look at our Chinese reactors, we made steps and then the star formation is here and then we have the thing and there. These reactors here are to create a separation from gravitational magnetic field of the Earth. That here, you're in that 1,000 meter high. The system we made in China last year is so detailed, but my knowledge seekers don't understand. So it was a very good experience to see, to develop and test a lot of things. Because they were looking for flight only. I was looking for the confirmation of releasing the man from the shackles of the planet. And we achieved it. We could create a plasma, because if you don't do that, you cannot reach plasma condition lights in the water. And which light was shining? Pardon?
No, I was just thinking of the separation from the physicality of the Earth. Is this why detachment is so important?
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to understand, is the meaning of the word, not the physicality of the word. When you get detached from here and you go to moon, now you get attached to the moon. Do you understand? And you're detached from the Earth. You have to understand what detachment means in the essence of the soul, not in the matter of the physicality.
Okay, I was thinking, I guess, in terms of how we are attached to. Now, I wasn't thinking of physical attachment or detachment from the Earth, but I was relating it to our mental state of how we attach our things to so many things that we feel are important. And as we detach ourselves from this, it's similar to the physicality detachment, but we allow ourselves to interact more freely with our soul when we detach from all our mental attachments.
This is now, it's very confusing time for a lot of knowledge seekers. Being in the state of the two, in between the two. If you go back to some of the very first videos we received from Arizona with John walking into the center with the maghreb systems, and he says he feels this and that. Because then in that condition, in that position in the center, there were less interference from outside parameters on the soul and the physicality of the mind. It's not that the field is there, you're becoming more and more isolated. In the future, mankind will come to this very, has to, because I call it, you know, decompression when you go into the deep ocean and you come back up and you have to take time to get rid of the nitrogen from your blood circulation or your muscle tissues or whatever. Mankind, when it comes to transfer from the dimension of the soul to physicality, has to allow a lot of fields to go that the physical strength or matter strength can leach to each other, can link to each other. This is part of the structure. You can do it very rapidly, but if you are not an expert in it, it has consequences. Would you like your liver to be outside and hanging and chasing you around? You understand? You got a lot to learn. It's still working outside, it's still 2 meters behind you, but it still does the job, because actually mankind looks at the liver, it needs to be inside the body of the man to work. You don't need to. It needs to be within the environment of the soul of the man, not within the environment of physicality. And if the soul can create that condition, the liver can exist then. You can use my liver if you like. I don't need to transplant it.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Any other questions? Shall we follow that?
I know we're getting close to ending here. We have Jeanette had her hand up for a while. Perhaps see if she can ask a question.
Is it the left hand or the right hand? Is it going to teach us, or does she want something? Is it a giver or a taker?
Giver or taker, exactly.
Okay.
Jeanette? I see your microphone's open and not hearing you.
Is this the disease of zone nowadays? Zone has upgraded and a lot of problem comes this way.
Yeah, it seems that updates seem to
there is something
problems.
there is something some of you who might not know. If you have a WhatsApp app on your Apple, go and upgrade as fast as you can. The latest app, WhatsApp app, if you're using WhatsApp and some of the others, especially WhatsApp, the Israelis have written a program which is like a Trojan or whatever, and it opens your cameras, it gives access to your voice recording and everything. In a way, they can listen to you in the room where you're sitting. And WhatsApp has released the latest is to cover this, that they cannot access to open your cameras in a way you're walking around there watching what you're doing, and they can listen. It's a very important upgrade that you might, if you're using that facility, that app. It was nice of them to announce it to cover people, because they realized it's a program written in Tel Aviv. That's what they tell us. Anything else?
Yes, we had a Mark had a question, I think, for Jalal, but he wanted to ask it. Do you want to go ahead, Mark?
Is Jalal there? Jalal?
Jalal's still here.
Yeah, but he could be busy. You know what? Jalal is always busy. He's a multitasker. I try to be the voice of Jalal. Ask the question. If not, he can come and answer.
Mark, can you speak there?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for sharing knowledge, sharing your soul with us. I think it was in 2015 that you said there would be a new handshake introduced, where the current handshake is I extend my right hand, you extend your right hand. We smile at each other as in a business handshake, but in the background, the thought is I'm going to take from you and you're going to try to take from me. The new handshake was I extend my right hand, you extend your left hand, and we say we're connected. Now I was demonstrating.
Have you seen how modules shake hands to each other?
I have not.
It's very funny the way they do. Okay, carry on.
So I was thinking in the private class, and this happened between Jalal and myself, and we both wanted to sort of create some sort of connection, even though we're scattered around the world. So Jalal was teaching one day in the class, and at the appropriate time, I just happened to see his hand on the table. Now, we've never discussed this again publicly or privately, but his hand was on the table, and I said, Jalal, turn your left palm up, and we're going to try to connect. And I was sitting, and I stood up, and I put my right hand on the computer, well, not on the screen, but close to the screen. I closed my eyes, and I put my left hand out, sort of down towards the earth, and I got a shock in the palm of my left hand, not an electrical shock, but what Jalal had mentioned, a tickling. And it was itching after that. We stopped it right away. I didn't know what would happen after we connected, but I just was thinking the knowledge seekers could connect after you said in the matter state we could connect with the right and the left. And I've seen Powell's drawing, or not drawing, but pictures of people standing in a circle with their back towards the center of the circle and holding hands. So I was thinking we could connect. Now, did Jalal do something to me? Did I do something to Jalal? Or did we just agree that we wanted to connect? And he felt something too. And if he's here, he might comment, and you can fill in what we're leaving out, or I'm leaving out.
Jalal is busy. One of the ways when you speak like this is we always called it cribble crabble, they call it in Flemish, or we call it tinkling. It's like ants moving under your skin. When you use a system, what they call for enhancement of the body of the man with the plasma technology, as you are using gases of like what is good for what I call emotion, because you satisfy that need, one of the first things people tell you is like ants moving under their skin. One of the first things they tell you, we call it cribble crabbles in English, or ants moving in the skin. It's just because you satisfy the need of the soul. I needed a touch, and I received that essence of the touch through the physicality of the gans. And many people who go through that process, they tell you, it's like, and they don't think about it, it's just all like something under my skin, it's like ants moving, but you satisfy the need. So when you say such a thing, maybe you wanted to confirm that I can connect, and that's what you get. If you look at some of the ceremonies, and sometimes when you stand in circles and hold hand, if you play games with your children, when you hold one-to-one with your child, or when it's two of the children and you're holding hand, one of each, the feeling is very different, and you find that most of the time one of the children always wants to be on the left and one wants to be on the right. And if you have three children, then the problem starts in a different way, but it solves other problems. If you look, many parents carry their children in a specific way, older and younger. And that specific way then touches the growth of the child psychologically. Because in one hand you're giving, and in the other hand you're taking. And you see children battle to be which side. We're so busy with the physical life, we don't stand still to learn from what is actually part of us. Is Jalal there? Jalal, I tried to cover your point.
I think it was the confirmation of connection.
Yeah, in a way you wanted to confirm that there is a connection can be done. We did this in 2014, mentioned it many times. We convert the sense of connection by stopping a motor, convert it to a physicality. When we were running, I think Rick should have the video somewhere, or the video is somewhere on the internet because he was alive. Running motors, some 12 of them across between Canada and Italy and Germany. We could convert the emotion wanting to one motor and to stop it, and we repeated it a second time. This is why the physicians of today should not be at work. A physician should not get paid to help. A physician helps to be paid. It's a big difference. And those who help and they don't expect payment if you pay them are always successful. Because they work through a different dimension of the strength of the soul. When you pay to see, it is what they call has no connection of the soul. We got to learn to live to work and not work to live. And this is what the Keshe Foundation is offering worldwide. You'll understand the structure I set up. Very soon you'll understand what we have done for humanity. Very, very soon. We have set a structure that it takes next few years that no man needs to work. But people work to be human, to be serving. And with it, they pay for it in any means, they compensate for it in any shape or form. And you cannot change 7 billion overnight, but gradually in time, next 20, 30 years, will become the pattern. No man should need to work to live. Living has to be a God-given right with all it needs to be comfortable. This is the work of the world leaders, and they don't understand. They don't come to lead, they come to create a condition that people can live, that allow them to be part of it, to accept them as leaders. We see this with very much with President Xi of China. We see that in parts of the work of the President Putin. When a nation needs to work to be led, that nation is already finished. Be it China, be it England, be it the human race as one nation. the process has to be that we give so much that in time we bring the mindset that I want to do something. I want to be there as a positive, to be a giver. People like to give, but we have to create that condition of giving, not a condition of we give you that you do. We pay you. We pay you to love us. That's why the society doesn't work in this frame. The governments should not be looking for taxes. The government should create a condition of living that people want to pay as taxes for what they've received. At the moment when we pay taxes, um, in some nations, 20–30% of the nation work is in black because they don't want to pay taxes. So the government borrows more and more and more and more. But if the government create a condition of fairness and give, provide, and say this is what it needs, what we spend, it needs to be put in. The structure is the wrong way. Taxing to look after should be look after that people pay for it to be there. A work has to be like a foundation. We teach freely. It's for you to cover all the things which is needed because we have to pay. I've seen recently Rick putting a note. I need funds to do this. Always been there. Rick always done that. That's how we got to know Rick. We always make donations. But the job has to be that we can cover everything, not to be taken by others that they do. And knowledge is free. Because it has, the foundation does not employ, the foundation works on donation. We donate for what is there, what we can donate. Because we are supposed to make comfortable for the others to do. And when we see problems, because we understood it, we always stick to it till it's over. Then this is part of the structure of the foundation. I run exactly what I teach, what is there. When it's there, we all take what is there and we donate our time and life to it till it blows over. But in that process, we see who's been for the foundation for just to take, and we see who's been there because of the ethos, the way it lives.
Mr. Keshe,
Yes.
what is humble?
Pardon?
What is humble? You said to be humble. What is it?
Can we have the definition of the humble in English, please?
Humility.
It means, the humbleness means not to consider yourself to be above others. Doesn't mean to stay low that they trample you or trample over you. It means to be considered to be not better. And it doesn't come out of equality.
And how do you achieve that?
Live by the ethos of the foundation. We are here to serve and not to be served, because while you're serving, the others are serving you. Something, if you go back in dimension of the holding hand and humbleness, you find people with a strong stability and understanding, especially some more leaders, use their hand in a lot of places in their public. And they carry a lot of what they call self-control and understanding. One of them is the German Chancellor. If you look at her posture in most of her standing, the way she holds her hand with the 4 fingers, she keeps a balance between the 2 fields of giving and taking, because she knows her strength. and then the gap in between allows what is needed to be taken and what it needs to be given. Which is a very beautiful hand, but if you understand psychologically what it means, why they do it, but it has other meanings as well, interpreted. But because the gap is always the same, it brings a stability of thoughts, not irrational movement. Shall we call it a day, Rick?
I know it's late. Could you perhaps give a quick answer to Scott with his questions? I did promise him. He asked, could you explain more on the concept of the double superimposed magnetic fields and how this process can create a gravitational field force? This is described in the patents as well as the terms hard and soft magnetic
Double
fields.
superimposed magnetic fields. You have a GANs here, and you have a GANs here. That's what it is. That's one, that's two. One is superimposed on the other. And this still creates its own field. This still creates its own field, gravitational and magnetical, while this one is creating its own field, gravitational and magnetical. But this supports higher because it's closer, and this supports lower because it's further. So you receive the, and then you can create a condition between the two that one can be magnetical in respect to where you are, or it can be gravitational in respect to where you get attracted or repelled. Double magnetic field is what we call now in the teaching of two cores. This is what was the teaching was written years ago in the pattern, and that's what it is. You have gases in one ball, and then you have a gases in another one. This ball has its own gravitational magnetic field. This ball has its own gravitational. But it's because it's in liquid condition, it's a dynamic condition as well. Then you create a superimposed double gravitational magnetic.
That would be similar with the gases too, I presume, in the gases reactor.
Yeah, it's the same.
Now, what about the terms hard and soft magnetic fields? Can you describe the meaning?
It's the tightness of the fields. The hardness or soft, the harder. You see, the further out you are, the more space is there. So this is softer, it can accept more fields. The tighter you become, the more center become. That's the soft one. This is a harder. The harder is always a stronger because it's got the stronger strength. Gravitational increases this way, magnetical this way. Gravitational is always stronger.
So, like the Earth's magnetic fields, would they be considered softer?
You see, there is a misassumption, there is a misunderstanding in the gravitational magnetic field of this planet that we all assume is like this. But in fact, everywhere is like this. If you call one gravitational and one magnetical, oops. If you call one gravitational and magnetical, it's in all direction. But with the present false teaching, we've been taught this way. This comes in and it goes out. It does in so many ways because of the centrifuge. You get a slightly more, but the totality is in balance. We don't get people on the North Pole falling out of the Earth and the one in the South Pole being sucked in. We all feel the same. So fields is all the same across this planet. It's a misconception of the presentation, which has led to a lot of problems. This is the reason why Tesla was so successful. Tesla understood this. And unfortunately, Einstein never did. He always got stuck with this, the string theory, CM. If you look, the work of Einstein is so narrow-minded and so wrong because of his not understanding of totality. But Tesla did. It's very simple. You get two ring magnets, and you try to tell me which side is end is north or south. It's all the same. It's us who made that word. Every direction is north and every direction is south. This is a problem because we were brought up with these rectangular magnets, and they define it that in the schools they should teach magnets as a ring, because this is the true magnetic field. It's easier to teach. It's more correct, and you don't have it to change the mindset comes. Thank you very much for today. And I hope we have managed to convey our messages to the American government for a peaceful conduct. And if you are the listener, please just send it to every American government officials and senates and the rest, that they understand what we think of what it is and what it's about. Because most of the American senators didn't know why they're going to the war. Now they know. They went to Libya, they all knew they're going to rob and steal. They went to Syria because they were paid by the Saudi spirit of a Shia state. We see the same with Yemen and the same with Palestinians. Iran is a free state with a lot of knowledge, and the knowledge is his power. We would like to be a peaceful nation, but it's every man's right to defend his home. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for that extra bonus at the end there, for going the extra mile. Oh, or a kilometer, depending.
We don't know. We are still here. We don't go very far.
So far, so good.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed.
Okay, thank you, everybody. If there's any questions remaining, keep them for next week. And thank you all for attending the 277th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. And I think that will be it for today, and I'll have Flint take us out. Bye for now.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshefoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.